The letters looked carved, not printed, sharp, meant to wound. A chorus of chuckles rolled through the ballroom, his colleagues craning their necks for the spectacle. My husband didn't move. He didn't flinch. His boss, her lips slick with red, her eyes locked on me, smirked like she'd personally branded the card. "Still clinging to him?" she purred. The table erupted. I smiled. My smile was steady, unshaken, though my fingers trembled against the linen napkin. I set the card down gently, like a chess piece I'd just sacrificed. Then I leaned toward the CEO, a silver-haired man who loved nothing more than numbers that obeyed. "I'd check your stock prices if I were you," I whispered, and I walked out. Backstory: he wasn't always a stranger. When we met, he was ambitious but unpolished, a man still wearing last year's suits and shoes that pinched. I loved that version, the one who laughed too loudly, who dreamt with reckless certainty. I built him into what he is, edited his rough edges, introduced him to the circles that mattered, pushed him through doors that would have stayed shut. And I believed him, believed when he said I wasn't his accessory, that I was his partner. Believed every empty vow whispered into my hair while I stitched his future together with my own hands. Until the changes came. Late nights. Phone turned face down. The faint scent of another woman's perfume riding his shirts back into my closet. Her perfume. Always hers. The boss who smiled at me like she'd won a private bet. Discovery. The evidence was surgical in its cruelty. A hotel receipt slipped into the wrong jacket pocket. Her name scribbled next to room service. A single text message flashing across his screen. "Can't wait until she's gone." I didn't scream, I didn't throw the phone or confront him in tears. Instead, I set it down carefully, memorizing the timestamp. The betrayal was no longer suspicion, it was fact. And fact is easier to weaponize. Shift. I didn't cry, not once. Instead, I observed. Every word he said, every excuse, every slip. I memorized the rhythm of his lies. I let him think I was still blind, still loyal. I studied her, too. She liked control, liked to humiliate. She couldn't resist turning my existence into her sport. She thought I'd crumble, and that was her mistake, because crumbling women don't move money quietly. They don't copy contracts, photograph signed deals, or slip boardroom recordings into encrypted drives. They don't learn which threads to pull until an empire begins to unravel. But I did. Execution. Step 1, silence. I gave him no fight, no suspicion. He slept soundly while I built my war. Step 2, patience. I leaked numbers, minor discrepancies, through an anonymous account to the right journalists. Nothing explosive, just whispers. Enough to bait curiosity. Step 3, precision. The contracts I copied weren't clean. They carried her signature, her approval. Off-balance sheets, shadow investments, the kind that make shareholders salivate until they're dragged into the light. By the time I placed the final piece, it was already in motion. I didn't need to shout. I only needed to watch. Climax. That gala was her stage. Their laughter, their sneers, it was supposed to be my humiliation, my final expulsion. Instead, it was the moment the trap snapped shut. When I left, they thought I was broken. They didn't know the first article was already scheduled to publish at midnight, that the journalist had cross-checked every file I'd handed over, confirmed every whisper with merciless clarity. They didn't know that by dawn, the headlines would scream about fraud, stock manipulation, executives under investigation. They didn't know that investors, already jittery, would pull out in droves, dragging the company's worth into the dirt. They didn't know the board would meet within 48 hours to remove her, or that my husband, her loyal shadow, would be dragged down with her. But I knew. When I whispered to the CEO that night, I wasn't giving advice. I was handing him a countdown. Resolution. 2 days later, the smirk was gone from her face. It was replaced by grainy news footage, her walking stone-faced past a wall of microphones, the word resignation clinging to her like ash. My husband came home, eyes hollow, tie loose, asking if I'd heard. I looked at him, this man I once believed in, and felt nothing. Not rage, not grief, just absence. "Did you?" he pressed. I didn't answer. I didn't need to. By the end of the week, he was suspended. By the end of the month, the divorce was filed, on my terms. And by the end of the quarter, I was free, while they both drowned in the very ocean they filled with my blood. Justice doesn't scream, it whispers. And if you listen closely, you can still hear it echoing in the silence they left behind.